He never forgot to like her selfies, but he always forgot our date nights. At first, I thought I was overreacting until I overheard his friend say, "Dude, you text her more than your wife." My stomach dropped. That night, I put on my favorite dress and waited. When he barely looked up from his phone, I smiled and said, "Tell me, when's the last time you complimented me like that?" He stuttered, "It's just a joke. We're just friends." I pulled out the screenshots and whispered, "Then why did you save her pictures?" His hands shook, and he knew he had just lost me. We've been married for 8 years. Together for 12. No kids. Just us, a dog, and a quiet life in Chicago. I'm 38. He's 41. I work in education, he's in tech. Nothing too wild. Just regular life. Or so I thought. He wasn't always like this. When we first got together, he made an effort. He'd show up with flowers on a Tuesday, hold my hand at dinner, talk to me like I was the only person in the room. Somewhere along the way, that changed. The first time I really noticed something was off, it was a Friday night. We had a standing date night tradition for years. Every other Friday, we'd go to Lula Cafe or try some new place we saw on Instagram. That night, he came home late. Said he was caught up at work. I didn't question it. Just heated up leftovers and tried to shake off the disappointment. But it wasn't just that one time. It became a pattern. He'd forget. Or he'd have to catch up on emails. Or he'd be too tired. I told myself it was stress, deadlines, the usual stuff. But then I noticed something strange. While he never remembered our date nights anymore, he always remembered to like her selfies. Her name came up when I was scrolling through his followers once. I clicked out of boredom. Her page was public. Blonde, gym selfies, beach trips, motivational quotes, all that. Let's call her Sierra. She looked like she stepped off an ad for energy drinks and lip fillers. She posted a lot. And every single time, there was his name in the likes. Without fail. Heart emoji, flame emoji, sometimes even the 100 emoji. All while I sat alone on a Friday with wine, eating takeout in my pajamas. At first, I didn't say anything. I told myself I was being petty, jealous, maybe even insecure. But something about it didn't sit right. We had a quiet weekend one time, just laundry, errands, a Target run. And in the middle of it, I tried to joke around. I said, "You like Sierra's pictures faster than you respond to my texts." I laughed, trying to play it off. He barely reacted. Just said, "She's a friend from college. You know that." I didn't know that. He'd never mentioned her before a few months ago. That week, I paid attention. Really paid attention. He was always on his phone. Always texting. Smiling at his screen when he thought I wasn't looking. He turned it face down every time he set it on the counter. Started taking it into the bathroom. Sleeping with it under his pillow. One night, we were out with friends. Barbecue in the backyard. His buddy Mike had one too many beers and said something I'll never forget. He was talking about fantasy football or some dumb guy thing, and then, out of nowhere, he looked at my husband and said, "Dude, you text Sierra more than your wife." My stomach twisted. I looked over at him. He laughed it off like it was nothing. But I saw the flicker in his eyes. He didn't expect that comment. And he sure didn't expect me to hear it. Later that night, I asked him casually, "So, do you talk to her a lot?" He didn't even blink. "Not really. We just joke around. It's harmless." I nodded, but something deep inside me said, he's lying. The worst part? I started noticing how little effort he put into me anymore. Not just the date nights. Everything. He stopped complimenting me. I'd get my hair done? Nothing. New dress? Nothing. I could be standing right in front of him and he wouldn't look up from his phone. But if she posted a new picture, he'd comment in less than a minute. I started checking her posts. I know how crazy that sounds, but I needed to see it with my own eyes. And there he was. Like clockwork. One night, around midnight, I opened Instagram again and saw her new story. It was a mirror selfie, just her in workout shorts, sweaty from the gym. And he replied, with a heart emoji. That was the moment something snapped at me. The next day, he left his laptop open in the kitchen. He always syncs his iMessages between his phone and Mac. Probably forgot. I didn't go looking. Not at first. But something told me to just check. I typed Sierra into the message search. I wish I hadn't. It was worse than I imagined. Every day. All day. Memes, videos, flirty banter, her saying things like, "If only you were here," and him replying with winky faces and "Don't tempt me." She'd send photos. Not full-on nudes, but suggestive. Crop tops. Lingerie. A few of them had been saved. Saved. He'd saved her pictures. I took screenshots of everything. My hands were shaking the whole time. I didn't cry. I just felt numb. That night, I didn't confront him. I planned. I made carbonara, his favorite. Put on makeup. Wore the blue dress he always used to say made me look like magic. He came home late again. Didn't say why. Didn't comment on the dinner or the dress. Barely even looked at me. He just sat down and pulled out his phone. That's when I asked, "Tell me, when's the last time you complimented me like that?" He looked confused. "What do you mean?" I walked over to him and held up my phone. I had the screenshots pulled up. "Then why did you save her pictures?" I said it quietly, almost too calm. His hands shook. It's not what you think." "Really?" "Because I think you've been emotionally cheating on me for months. Maybe longer." He started fumbling. "We're just friends. It's just jokes." I didn't mean anything. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just said, I was right. I wasn't overreacting. He slept on the couch that night. The next day, he begged to talk. Said it was just stupid texting. That nothing physical ever happened. That he'd stop. That he was sorry. I didn't answer. I packed a bag and went to stay with my sister in Evanston. It's been 3 weeks. He still texts me every day. Still sends, "I miss you," and "Can we talk?" Still tries to pretend like we can fix this. But every time I open my phone and see his name, I remember the moment I realized I wasn't even second place anymore. I wasn't even on the board. And here's the part that really gets me. A few days ago, one of his friends DM'd me on Instagram. Said he just wanted me to know that the guys in their group chat all knew about Sierra. They joked about her. About how my husband was probably keeping me around until he could level up. They called her the upgrade. Me? Just the placeholder. I haven't responded yet. I'm not sure what to do next. But I know one thing. I'm not crazy. I'm not jealous. And I'm not staying. A few days after I moved out, I was at my sister's place, sitting on her balcony, drinking cold coffee from the morning I didn't have the strength to reheat. I was scrolling blankly, not really seeing anything on my phone. Then a text from an unknown number came through. "I didn't mean to come between you two." I stared at the screen for a full minute. Then another message came in. "He told me you were separated." I sat up straight. My chest went tight. I called the number. She picked up. It was her. Sierra. Her voice was smaller than I expected. Less confident than she looked on Instagram. She sounded scared. I didn't yell. I didn't say anything at first. Just silence. She said, "He told me you'd already split up. He said it was just logistics. That you were roommates at that point." I almost laughed. That man kissed me goodbye the same morning he probably told her that. I asked, "Did you ever sleep with him?" She hesitated. "No. He wanted to." I told him not until he was officially divorced. That answer did something weird to me. It didn't make me feel better. It made me angrier. Because that meant he was trying. Actively trying. I told her everything. Every lie. Every missed date night. Every text I found. Her voice cracked when she said, "I didn't know." I swear. We hung up and I didn't feel closure. I felt worse. Because now it wasn't just betrayal. It was deliberate deception. He lied to both of us. A few days later, my sister ran into him. Apparently, he was outside our old house, trying to mow the lawn. She said he looked like hell. Said he tried to ask her how I was doing, but she didn't say much. That night, I got a long email from him. No subject line. Just, "I know I've lost you. I deserve that. But I didn't mean for it to go this far." I didn't know how lonely I felt until she gave me attention again. "You were always so strong. So sure." And I felt like I didn't matter anymore. "But that's not your fault. That's mine. I messed everything up. I wish I could take it back." I didn't reply, but I read it about 15 times. I wasn't sure if I felt pity or rage. Maybe both. A week later, I decided to go back to the house to pick up a few things. He said he'd be gone. He lied. When I walked in, he was sitting at the dining table. Same spot he used to eat breakfast in. Same spot he scrolled through Sierra's pictures without blinking. He looked up and froze. I kept walking. Went upstairs. Grabbed the box I had left in the closet. He followed. "Can we talk?" he asked. I ignored him. "Please." I turned. Looked him dead in the eyes. "You lied to me. And you lied to her. You made us both believe different stories." He said, "I didn't think I'd lose everything. I didn't think you'd leave." That made me laugh, sharp and bitter. "You didn't think I'd leave? After watching you fall in love with someone else while I sat across from you every night." He said, "It wasn't love." I said, "Then why did you save her pictures?" He didn't have an answer. But here's the twist I didn't see coming. 2 days later, Sierra messaged me again. This time, it wasn't regretful. It was panicked. She wrote, "He showed up at my work today. Unannounced. Just stood there, waiting. He looked like he hadn't slept in days." She sent me a photo. He was standing outside the glass door of her gym in the rain. No umbrella. Just staring. She said he tried to convince her to meet him for coffee. Said they could still be something. After everything. After the email. The fake apology. The promises. He was still trying to move on to her like I was just a pit stop. I felt sick. She told him no. Told him she knew everything now. That she wasn't interested. He left. That same night, he texted me again. This time it said, I don't have anyone left. And just like that, the shame turned into something colder. Because I realized something. He wasn't sorry because he hurt me. He was sorry because he got caught, and his backup plan walked away too. I haven't replied. I don't know if I will. But every part of me wants to scream. Because I was the one who stayed up waiting for him. Who cooked the meals. Who supported him through 2 layoffs and 1 surgery. Who held him when his dad died. Who smiled through family dinners where his mother treated me like I was temporary. And he threw it all away for compliments and DMs. No closure. No apology can fix that. But this isn't the end. Not yet. There's still more. And I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll go back for good. Maybe I'll burn it all down. Maybe I'll do something none of them see coming. A few days after Sierra told me he showed up at her work, I started getting weird calls. Unknown number. No voicemail. At first, I ignored them. But then one night, around 2:30 a.m., the phone rang again. This time it didn't stop. Call after call. Finally, I picked up. No one said anything at first. Just silence. I almost hung up. Then I heard a whisper, he's not okay. It was his sister. She and I weren't close. She always kept to herself at family gatherings. But this time, she sounded shaken. She told me he'd been calling her in the middle of the night, slurring his words. That he wasn't eating. That he'd been crashing on a friend's couch after Sierra turned him away too. That he'd lost a client at work after missing a big presentation. I'm not saying you should talk to him, she said. I just thought you should know. He's spiraling. I hung up and stared at the wall for a long time. Part of me still cared. I hated that. But it was true. And then the real twist came. The very next day, Sierra posted something. Not a thirst trap. Not a gym selfie. It was a picture of a handwritten letter. The caption just said, I'm done being anyone's fantasy. I zoomed in. The letter was from him. He wrote, I know I ruined everything. I lied to her, I lied to you, and worst of all, I lied to myself. I didn't want either of you to know who I really was. I just wanted to feel like I mattered again. I saved your photos because I wanted to believe someone like you could still want me. But I never planned to leave her. Until she made it easy by leaving me first. I deserved to be alone. I was never a good man. Just good at pretending. It wasn't an apology. Not really. It was a confession. A desperate one. The comments were brutal. People roasted him. Called him manipulative, emotionally abusive, a narcissist. But something about that line stuck with me. I never planned to leave her. Until she made it easy by leaving me first. That told me everything I needed to know. He wasn't choosing Sierra. He was just waiting for me to stop choosing him. He never had the guts to leave. Never had the guts to commit to someone else. Just sat in the middle, soaking up attention, riding the fence, hoping someone else would make the hard decision. And I did. And he cracked. But it wasn't over. 1 week later, I got a call from my old neighbor, Ms. Jenkins. Sweet lady, mid-60s, keeps up with everyone's business. She said she saw a moving truck outside the house. That man of yours had a crew loading boxes this morning, she said. He was just pacing around with a cigarette like a ghost. I hadn't heard a word from him. He was leaving the house. That caught me off guard. The house was mine in the divorce papers. We hadn't even filed yet, but he always said he'd never give it up. That he'd fight for it. That it was his sanctuary. Now he was packing up and vanishing. I drove over that night. Just to see. Sure enough, the place was half empty. Lights off. Just a note taped to the front door. I don't belong here anymore. No signature. Inside, he'd left behind a few boxes for me. Stuff I forgot I owned. Yearbooks. Our wedding photo album. Some old love notes I'd written him. I almost didn't open the last box, but curiosity got the best of me. At the bottom was a flash drive. Nothing labeled. When I got back to my sister's place, I plugged it in. It was filled with videos. Of us. Clips I didn't even know he'd taken. Laughing in the kitchen. Singing in the car. Walking in the snow with our dog. Me, sleeping on the couch, mouth slightly open. He'd whispered, beautiful, into the mic before shutting off the camera. I sat there, staring at the screen, fists clenched. You don't do that kind of thing for someone you don't love. So why? Why throw it away? And that's when the biggest twist hit me. I opened the last file. It was a screen recording of a note on his phone. A draft message. Not to me. Not to Sierra. To someone named Julia. The note read, you said one day I'd get tired of pretending. You were right. But I don't know how to come back from this. I destroyed everything. I don't even think I ever wanted Sierra. Not really. I think I just wanted to hurt the woman who saw me too clearly. And now I've hurt everyone. Even you. I sat frozen. Julia? Who the hell was Julia? I ran a reverse lookup on the email address linked in the corner of the recording. It wasn't hard. Just a few online tools and a little time. Turns out, Julia was his therapist. He'd been in sessions for 6 months. Behind my back. He told me once therapy was a waste of time. But clearly, he'd been talking to someone. And that someone knew everything. Maybe more than I did. I called the practice. I didn't lie. I said I was his wife, separated, and had questions. They couldn't tell me anything, confidentiality. But now, I knew. This wasn't just cheating. This wasn't just texting someone for attention. He'd been unraveling for a long time. Quietly. Secretly. Building a double life, maybe even a triple one. And I was living right next to him, completely in the dark. And now that the light was finally on, I didn't know what I was looking at. Just the outline of a man who no longer existed. 2 weeks after finding that flash drive and discovering the name Julia, his therapist, I didn't sleep. Not properly. I kept replaying the videos he'd saved, wondering when those moments stopped mattering to him. Or if they ever truly mattered at all. It felt like walking through my own memories with someone else's fingerprints all over them. I didn't confront him right away. I needed space. Time. But eventually, I wanted to look him in the eye and ask him one last question. Why? That moment came quicker than I expected. My sister dragged me to a mutual friend's birthday dinner. Just 6 of us, all people who had known him too, so I didn't feel great about going, but I didn't want to hide. We were halfway through the night when he walked in. I didn't even know he'd been invited. The air shifted immediately. You could feel it. Forks paused. Conversations died mid-sentence. He saw me. Froze. We hadn't seen each other in person since the day I left. But he walked in anyway, sat 2 seats away, nodding to the host like nothing was wrong. Someone passed him a beer. He didn't touch it. Just kept glancing at me. And then, out of nowhere, Sierra walked in. I had no idea they even talked anymore. She looked just as stunned to see him as I was. Her lips parted, like she wanted to say something, but didn't know how. That's when he stood up. He tapped his glass with a fork, like some kind of announcement was coming. Everyone went dead quiet. I just need to say something, he said, eyes on me. No, you really don't, I snapped. He ignored me. I lied to her, he said, motioning to me. I lied to Sierra. I lied to myself. I made everyone think I had things under control, but I haven't been okay for a long time. I started therapy last year. I didn't tell anyone because I didn't want to seem weak. People started shifting in their seats. Someone coughed. My friend Jenna grabbed her drink a little tighter. I saved Sierra's pictures because I thought they made me feel wanted, he said, louder now. But I wasn't in love with her. I just didn't know how to ask my wife to love me again. You didn't have to ask, I said, standing up, heat rising in my face. You just had to stop lying. You had my love. You buried it under your phone and your secrets. I know, he said, voice breaking. I was drowning. You didn't drown, I fired back. You jumped off the boat and dragged me down with you. Sierra stood up too. You told me she didn't care about you. That she checked out years ago. You made me feel sorry for you. He didn't look at her. Just at me. I'm sorry, he whispered. You don't get to do this here, I said. You don't get to ruin my life in private and apologize in public for applause. Someone muttered, Jesus, and someone else dropped their fork. He sat down, finally. The silence that followed was thicker than anything I've ever felt. I grabbed my coat and walked out. Sierra followed a few steps behind. On the sidewalk, she looked at me and said, I didn't know how much he lied until I met you. I really didn't. I nodded. Neither did I. That night, I cried harder than I had since the day I left him. Not because I missed him, but because it hit me that the man I thought I loved never really existed. Just a version of him that only lived inside my hope. Over the next few days, the texts started again. He said he was starting over. That he was staying in therapy. That he wished I'd believe he was still a good person underneath it all. His sister messaged me, trying to explain him. Said their dad had always been hard on him. That he was taught to never show weakness. That the therapy started after a breakdown I never saw. I didn't reply. Even if every excuse was true, none of it changed the choices he made. Eventually, the divorce papers were signed. He didn't contest the house. Didn't argue about the dog. He just let it go. I heard he moved to Milwaukee. Got a job at a smaller tech firm. No one's sure if he still talks to Sierra. I don't ask. I went back to teaching. I adopted a second dog. I go to therapy now too. Not to fix anything. Just to understand why I kept forgiving silence. Why I mistook lack of cruelty for love. A month ago, I ran into Mike, the friend who made that joke at the barbecue. He apologized for that comment. Said he had no idea what was going on, that he never meant for me to hear it. It was just guy talk, he said. No, I replied, it was a warning. I just didn't listen. Now, sometimes, I walk past couples holding hands and I wonder what version of each other they're holding on to. I don't trust easily. But I'm not bitter. I don't know if I'll fall in love again. But I'm not broken. I'm learning to love silence when it's mine. To dress up for myself. To take selfies I never post. To sit across from myself on a Friday night and actually enjoy the company. And sometimes I look at the old pictures, the wedding ones, the holidays, the ones where I'm laughing like I didn't have a clue, and I don't delete them. They remind me that I love deeply. That I can love deeply. Next time, I just won't give that love to someone who only knows how to pretend. He never forgot to like her selfies, I once said. Now? I don't need anyone's likes. I just need peace.